Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Unicorn Ads episode 1. So this is going to potentially be this is like an idea that I had that I think would be interesting to everybody. So it could be just one and done, or this could be something we do on a regular basis. But I noticed one of the things that has always been most popular in our academy, in our courses, in our trainings, at masterminds, at events, has been the concept of like auditing ads, right? So looking at your ads, looking at, other kind of bigger businesses ads, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, and being able to share that. What's up, Brian? So I figured, why don't I start doing this maybe on a daily basis? Maybe it's not going to be every day, maybe weekly. We'll figure that out. And what I'm going to do here essentially is look through my feed. So I have, and this is something I recommend for everybody to do. You can create saved collections in your Facebook account. And so I save ads all the time that kind of catch me, whether it's a great headline, a great photo, a great video, a great thumbnail, whatever it might be. If it grabs my attention, I save it and I use it for later in terms of inspiration. So something I recommend everybody to do. What I'm going to start doing though is saving these, saving ads that I see, and we'll discuss those on these lives. I'll kind of walk through about what's up, JSIC, walk through these ads and kind of highlight things that I think are really great about them, things that I think they can improve on that I would do differently. And we'll also go through my feed, just kind of scroll through my feed. So it's all on like off the cuff, right? There's none of this going to be pre-prepared or anything. That's what I like to do most. I find that I'm kind of most creative when I'm just like not prepping for something. Like even like 6-hour masterminds that I do the slides and stuff, but I really don't rehearse or practice anything. Maybe I would do a lot better if I did, but let me just share this real quick. So that's what we're going to do. I think what I'll also add to this is if you want to have your ad audited, because it is something that's kind of exclusive to my students in the Unicorn Academy. If that's something you're interested in, I might have people like share their ads in the comments, the links to them, and maybe once a week or like I'll do like one ad per live. So it's not going to be like I'm just going to audit everyone's ads. It's something I pick and I'll do like maybe one of your ads and kind of walk through it, provide some thoughts on it, what I would do differently on the copy, what I do differently on the headline, basically just walking through and providing some feedback. So if that sounds good, we'll get rocking and rolling. I'm just sharing this into the groups on my page and stuff. And this is another important thing. I see people not changing, which is interesting. Like Facebook is cracking down big time on their on basically using your personal page for business use. Really, really cracking down on it. They've been banning accounts left and right. And what's amazing is I still see people basically promoting crap on their page, on their personal profile. And so this is super risky. If you care about your personal Facebook account, which is linked to all your ad accounts and stuff, if you care about that and don't want to get it locked down, I highly recommend that you don't do that. And so things like, hey, comment below if you want to get this freebie or whatever it is, like just stop doing that. I always hated that anyway. But if you're going to do it, at least do it from your public figure page or your brand page or your business page, which is what Facebook wants you doing, right? Facebook doesn't want you using the platform to make money without paying them, right? That wouldn't be a great business move to say, hey, we're going to create a platform where you can come on here and basically we make no money and you guys can use our distribution to make as much money as you want. So that's not a win for them. They're a public company. They're in the business of making money. Their shareholders want to make money. They have a fiduciary duty to their shareholders. So they're definitely cracking down on that. So definitely be careful with your personal posts because they're on a crusade right now to shut down a lot of different pages. So that's something I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of before we get started. And I know quite a few people have had their personal account shut down in the last week or two. Awesome. So let me pull up over here. Let's go over to my personal feed. Going to go down to the pull up Facebook and we'll get rock and roll. So everyone can see my screen. Everyone can see this dog that's eating sand. I'm actually interested now. You got to love these Unilad and BuzzFeed pages. But this is a good point. This actually brings up something that's interesting, which is like too many people, too many advertisers and businesses on Facebook are trying to create ads. And that sounds crazy. Like, well, of course they're trying to create ads. But remember that is like they're writing the copy and they're coming up with creative angles that are focused on being an ad. So selling something, looking more like an ad, sounding more like an ad. That's the exact opposite of what you should be doing. You should be creating ads that look like and feel like the content that people who use Facebook every day want to engage with, right? So if you're scrolling through your feed, you notice the same pages that are always in the top of your feed, right? And it could be different depending on your interests and stuff, but usually it's, Unilad, Business Insider, BuzzFeed, Tasty. There's a handful of pages that are always at the top of your feed. And it's not a coincidence. They've done extensive testing, extensive research, and I put a ton of resource into figuring out what content structures resonate most with people. And what I mean by that is like, how am I writing the copy? What is the video length? What's the video structure? What's the size of the video? Am I putting text in the video? How many clips am I putting in there? All of that is carefully thought out and carefully tested. And so when you're creating ads, I think it's just as important to look at what content in your feed is killing it right now, organically and paid, and look at how I can take elements of the organic content that's killing it and incorporate that into my paid content, right? That's why native advertising works really well, because it in essence, native advertising is all about creating ads that feel native to the platform, which means that they fit in, right? So if you're reading CNN.com, the ad looks and feels just like all the other articles in the format. And so the headline, the image, the location, all of that flows with the rest of the content. And so as a reader of CNN.com or Fox News, or whatever it is, you're going to have a much higher chance of actually engaging with the content because it looks like everything else you engage with, right? It doesn't feel like an ad. So that's just like something that right off the bat, I wanted to talk about, because I see it all the time where I see the same types of ads from students of mine and individuals with masterminds, and it's so salesy. It's written as an ad. It's, hey, buy this product. $5 today, come and get it. Like, that isn't exciting. That's not going to grab my attention. That's not going to trigger anything emotionally in me. That's not going to put any anchors into me to overcome any objections I might have. That's not building a relationship with me. And more importantly, it doesn't excite me. It doesn't engage me. It's clearly yelling an ad, right? And you don't want to yell ad. Like, that is the worst thing you want to do. And that's the beauty of Facebook is here's what's interesting. So with Facebook, the only thing other than the way you write your ad that tells people that what you're posting is an ad is this little text right here that says sponsored. Other than this, there's nothing that's blatantly telling me that this is an ad right now, right? Because Shopify, they can post regular content. So there can be, like, this is a report from Shopify. Like, I could just as easily see this post sharing a report in my news feed organically as I could from a paid standpoint. There are plenty of people that I follow, plenty of brands that I follow that share content organically all the time. So what you need to realize is other than this little gray text, it's up to you to tell the person whether you're running an ad or not. Okay. And so you can do that through your, text. You can do that through your image. You can do that through your headline. That's where you're telling somebody this is like blatantly an ad, right? Instead of focusing on writing your ad like people post content organically, right? Like, you don't think this is an ad. It's clearly not promoting anything. But like, if you're a dog company, if you're BarkBox or a pet company or a Petco or PetSmart or one of those companies, you could run an ad that's very similar to this, right? And maybe you don't even promote a product. Maybe it's the harness. Maybe the harness is the product you're promoting. And maybe you don't even straight up promote it in this video. You could run a video like this as PetSmart, as BarkBox, or one of the big pet companies, and retarget people that watch 95% with the harness. So now you could run the same video back to them, but in that video, you're talking about the harness. Like, the XYZ harness the only harness that's approved for eating sand on the beach, something like that. So it still ties in with the narrative of the funny eating sand, but now it's talking about the product, but it's talking about the product in a fun way, not buy the harness today for $14.95. It fits all dogs. Like that's boring. That's not exciting. That for most people, they just instantly turn off their brain and they go to the next, right? You have such little time to grab my attention as a prospective buyer. You have such little time, seconds. In some cases, like microseconds, milliseconds, you have of time, right? So like for Shopify, for example, and I love Shopify. I'm close to a lot of people at their company. We've done their last two kind of elite masterminds, incredible company, crazy innovative, just they're killing it. But for me, like this is a relatively boring ad. Disruption hits e-commerce fashion. Are you ready? What do you see the future of fashion? Get the report. And, it's a pretty basic image. For me, I think this is a risk that a lot of brands run into. And I'll talk about this later in the live and I've made this mistake a lot, actually, including your logo or including elements in your ad that aren't universally known, right? So I don't know who Yuri Minkoff is, and I don't know Rebecca Minkoff. I don't know the company. So this can work if they were just targeting, a very specific fashion niche that clearly the mass of that audience knew. But if you're doing bigger targeting, you're going after just e-commerce. Like that doesn't resonate with me because I'm not into fashion. I don't really understand fashion. I don't know the fashion world. I don't know the fashion influencers. And so having something a little descriptive here that says something like, hey, disruption hits the fashion industry. Are you ready? We sat down with Yuri Minkoff, who runs the #1 fashion e-commerce store in the world that did $25 million last year to give us his top 10 picks. Something as simple as that would give instant credibility, instant trust, authority, and hey, what's up, Brian? And would make it much more likely that I would pay attention and kind of dive into it. The other thing, and I see this a lot, like the headline, this is such valuable real estate, right? So this is a big chunk of real estate. Facebook has even made this bigger over the last 6 months. It used to be a little smaller and less prominent. So like you want to use this to do something additionally. Every piece of an ad is valuable, precious real estate. Okay. So the copy, the creative, the headline, the call to action, the newsfeed description, these are all precious pieces of real estate that give you the ability to own a percent of somebody's screen. So you need to think about, hey, if I have limited resources, which is real estate, so I have a limited amount of real estate on this screen, what do I not want to do? Well, I for sure don't want to waste the real estate by not doing something. But more importantly, I don't want to repeat myself. There's no sense for me to do two things, to basically use the two pieces of valuable real estate to say the same thing that I could say in one piece of real estate. And so for this example, the call to action already makes it clear this is a downloadable report. Download. So that's the call to action. So I know right off the bat, this is a report. It says get the report. And I already know that the action is download. And I also want to make this clear too. So anybody that's watching this, these episodes I'm going to do, there's going to be no like holding back. This is why I do these. So a lot of people might be auditing. I love and I think they're incredible companies. So I don't want anybody to take like offense to me kind of auditing ads because there's nothing to do with the company. It's just the ad, right? So just wanted to say that in case any of my friends from Shopify are watching this. I'm not singling you guys out. You guys just happen to be the very first ad in my feed for the day. So just wanted to preface that because I know some people can, they have thin skin when it comes to critiquing ads. So I don't need to repeat this, right? I already know it's a report and I already know I'm going to download it. So download the report. This is very repetitive. I already know I'm getting the report here. I know I'm downloading here. So this should be used to do things like I said before, which is building the credibility and authority of this individual. So it could be something as simple as learn the secrets from a $50 million a year fashion icon or a fashion entrepreneur, something like that, that again, everything I'm doing in this ad should have a purpose. So I know that this ad, a lot of people are going to see it, probably are cold or lukewarm at best. Because this isn't a retargeting ad, because I haven't been to Shopify Plus or Shopify's website in several weeks, if not a few months. At least their public-facing website. So I know it's just like a cold traffic ad. So you need to think about all the objections and all the kind of barriers mentally that I need to quickly overcome in that individual to get them to trust me, to feel a relationship, to feel like this is relevant to them, to feel like this is worth their time. There are all these little mental blocks, mental hurdles this person has. And you need to leverage this real estate to overcome as many as possible, right? And so using the headline to build some credibility by dropping some facts and figures regarding his revenue, his, the number of stores he runs, his, brand he worked for, whatever it might be, that's going to help me say, hey, this guy's legit. Just that dramatically increases the chance that I'm going to download this. Because as it stands right now, I'm probably not going to download it because, I'm sure this guy's legit because he's on Shopify. They're not going to put somebody that's not a rock star on this. But just speaking objectively from the masses, if you're not a huge Shopify fan and don't know Shopify that well, you don't have instant credibility with that person. So you need to establish this individual. So that's one thing. I think the other thing, when we started testing this, and I know a few other individuals that are doing very, very well with this strategy. Scott Olford is doing it. Jason Horning is doing it. A handful of other people in industry that are running ads to reports, to webinars, to some type of download. They're actually using this space to preview that report. So for our webinar, for example, we started running a video ad, and that video ad was a full square video, and it showed me scrolling through all the slides in my webinar deck, my presentation. So if you saw the ad, you got to see all 150 slides. Now, I didn't stay on everyone for a minute. I quickly scroll through it. But if your hesitancy, which is hesitancy reservation for a lot of people to download things, is I've been burned, right? So a lot of people on Facebook, there's always reports. Look, right here, as I'm sitting here, there's another report to download over here on the right column. So here's another how AI is transforming marketing. Everybody wants you to download something because they want your email, because they want to eventually sell you something. People are getting smarter, right? I wouldn't say all customers are up to that level yet, but people are starting to realize that my email, my messenger opt-in, my phone number are assets. They have a dollar value associated with them. And I can exchange those assets for other things, right? So I can exchange my email asset for knowledge, for free information, for knowledge and expertise, which is what you're doing here. However, a lot of people have done that and gotten the raw end of the deal. They've given their email and they feel like they got burned. They got a one-sheeter that gave one or two tips and the rest of it was selling. And now they're just being sold and sold and sold. So the bar is set a little higher. And so if you actually create a video where you're scrolling through your report and they can kind of see, wow, this is like a 25-page report. It's got all kinds of charts and look at all this stuff. They're much more likely to make that exchange because now they kind of seen what they're going to get. There's a little preview, right? And if you can preview what they're going to get, it feels a little more real. They trust it a little more. So that's what I've been doing. And I know a lot of other people have been doing it with success. So I would consider doing that here as well. Does that make sense for everybody? Is this, more importantly, is this interesting and valuable for anybody watching, kind of going through ads live and talking through them? Because that's the most important thing at the end of the day. I think it's interesting, but if nobody else thinks it's interesting, that's a whole different thing. So I want to make sure that's the case over there. And I'm going to go over to, let me go back to the group so I can make sure, because this is shared in a few other places. So I just want to make sure I'm seeing the comments. Seeing all the comments and everything. Okay. All right. Cool. Doug, Jasek. Cool. Okay. So let's find the next ad in our feed. And by the way, if anybody here wants me to, no problem, Doug, catching the next one. If anybody here wants me to audit their ad, feel free to drop the link in the comments. And every one of these, I'll pick one to do a audit on. So that'll be the thing going forward. And then let me know if you guys think this should be like a daily thing and or a weekly thing, and also what you think a good name would be. I want to get all that all the information in there. Okay, here's an ad from Russell. I actually have a few ads from Russell open because I love a lot of the ads they run. I think they do an excellent job with their Facebook ads, with grabbing attention, capturing attention. So we'll look at this real quick. We'll start with a Russell ad, and then I have a few others kind of in the that I have over here that I really like from the info and ads. Okay, so right off the bat, what I like about this ad is I think the headline, unlike the first ad, is super strong here. So how to retire in 100 days as a ClickFunnels super affiliate. That's powerful. So what Russell understands, what their ad team understands, which is an important thing for everyone to understand, is people don't care about the they don't care about the means. They don't care about the path. They don't care about the kind of features and the bells and whistles and the things. They care about the outcome. So what I mean by that is, Russell could talk about here the actual boot camp. He could talk about, hey, I put together a affiliate course with 35 modules and 10 hours of content to teach you how to be an affiliate marketer. Like that could be the angle. That could have been the headline, shorter version of that headline. The reason that doesn't work as well is people don't want to work, right? Nobody gets excited to study, to go to school, to, some people get excited to learn if they're passionate about it, but most people don't get excited to like go in and learn a bunch of stuff, to read a bunch of stuff, to take a bunch of courses and lessons and spend a lot of time, right? That's not super exciting to them. But most people don't want to learn all the things they're going to have to do to get the outcome. What they care about is the outcome. So what Russell's talking to them is the outcome. He's saying, hey, you're going to retire in 100 days. Then at that point, I don't care what the program is. I don't care about what's in the program. You just told me that you have something that's going to help me retire in 100 days. I'm down to test that. That's worth the risk, from my opinion, to sign up for a free whatever it is, and the outcome potentially could be me retiring. That's a powerful outcome, and that speaks to multiple desires of people. So a lot of people, they want to make more money. They want to have more time. They want to do less work. They want to do what they love. They want to spend more time traveling with friends and families. Like those are things that people want, right? And so by saying you're retired, that basically groups all those things into one word. Retirement in its very nature, like that tells me that I've made enough money to be able to spend my time not working, do what I love, right? And so that is super powerful. And so in one sentence, Russell has gotten me excited because he's really agitated the desired outcome I have, which is, hey, I want to retire. I want to have more money. I want to have more time. I want to be able to do more fun things. That's what I want. That's why, people give like Ty Lopez and Grant Cardone and all those guys a lot of shit. And I might not be a huge fan of that style of marketing. However, what I will say is they are brilliant because they know exactly what their target demo wants. They know exactly what they want, right? Ty knows that his target audience is younger guys, and younger guys, they want the fancy cars, they want the girls, they want the life that he lives, they want the lifestyle, right? That hustler crowd. And so that's exactly what he gives them in the ads. And all of his ads, he very rarely talks about the technicals. He very rarely talks about the details of his course or social media. He doesn't say, hey, my social media course is going to give you 65 modules. Each module is 3 hours. I'm going to teach you how to post on Facebook. I'm going to teach you how to do lives. I'm going to teach you how to do this. No. He says, hey, how would you like to live this lifestyle? Look at all the cars I have. Look at all the things I have. You know how I got all this? Social media. And I put together a program that teaches you social media. People put 2 and 2 together. It's powerful and it works for that demographic. So I think the headline is really strong. It's great. The newsfeed description is really strong. Join the 100-day challenge free right now. So it hits on the free part. So I know that this is a free program, which overcomes that objection. We have, so I asked myself, if you had a time machine, it could go back 2006, Russell, knowing what you know now, what would you say? What formula for generating fast online income would you give me? What happened next? This video happened. Turn the sound on, turn off the distractions, and take 15 minutes out of the day to watch this. This is how success is made. It's simple and it's awesome. So it's a pretty solid, pretty solid copy. A little wordy. I think the key with really strong copy is really grabbing people's attention with that first line. And so including emojis, including caps, including text that's going to stand out while I'm scrolling is important here. So even something like the first line being, I discovered a time machine, or I invented a time machine, ! With some type of emoji. And then it could be, hey, just kidding, but wouldn't that be cool? I asked then you can jump into the copy. Something like that, I think grabs their attention. It's a big, bold statement, and then it ties directly in the copy. You don't want to just say things that aren't relevant. That's important. So as long as it ties in, it's fine there. It's great to have the link in there because if people are watching this on their mobile in like suggested video or anything like that, it's usually not going to show the call to action, which is important. So you should always have a link in your video ads in the copy as well. In regards to the video, I think that there needs to be more happening initially because most people aren't going to have their sound on. Even though it says put your sound on, most people still won't put their sound on. And so if I just start playing this, like there's nothing that really grabs my attention. Even if they put something on here really quick, like a big flashing text, turn your sound on if you want to retire. Something like that ties into the retirement theme, and then turning the sound on would at least get me excited, would grab my attention, and it would help encourage me to do the desired action, which is turn the sound on so I can actually listen to this presentation. This also brings up the interesting point of like testing thumbnail images. So we noticed a pretty sizable increase in ROAS by simply taking videos that were already working and testing different thumbnails that were custom made, that were designed to catch people's attention and get them to play. Because a lot of people don't autoplay. And so if it's just like a random clip from your video, that doesn't really grab their attention. So you would need to actually have their have something there, combine the best of your image ads with your video ads. That's a great strategy, actually. So we started doing that on our accounts. We have an image ad that just kills it. It's like a very attention-grabbing image ad. It's got fire. It's got all kinds of stuff. And then we have a great video that's killing it, and we combined the two. So we took the best image ad, and we used that image as the thumbnail cover for our best video ad. What do you think happened? Performance went up. So simple, so basic, but a lot of people don't do that. They don't test the thumbnail, which is crazy because if they don't play the video, it doesn't matter how good your video is because they won't see it. So you need to focus on how do I get them to play the video. Cool. So I think that's all solid. We can scroll through. I actually saw, so I'll go over here real quick. This is a great like habit to get in with your ads is one, saving ads. So you should always be saving ads in your feed. Every time you see an ad that looks great, that catches your attention, save it, use it for reference later when you're actually in Ads Manager creating ads. That's super important. And then on top of that, you should look at who are the people that are crushing it right now. So in your space, or even just in areas you're interested in, like who are the people, the influencers, the brands that are just crushing it. Anytime you see an ad in your feed from them, you're like, wow, this is a great ad. You should go to their page and go check out the ads that are running. Facebook gives you everything. Like Facebook, everyone asks me like, what spy tools do you use? What software do you use to spy on your competition? All that stuff. And it used to be more important, but now, like, I don't need a spy tool. Facebook basically just made everybody on Facebook's ads public record. So I can come in here and see every ad that Russell's running right now. Now, what I don't recommend is just jacking people's ads. That's not what this should be used for. Just copying somebody's ad verbatim, because it's not going to work for you. It works for Russell because Russell has a personality. He has a brand, an identity, a voice, and that relates to his audience. If you just copy him and it's different than your audience expects, it's not going to work for you, right? So don't just steal people's ads, but you can use it for inspiration, right? You can use it, like I talked about before, for overall structure, meaning, hey, a lot of these brands that are killing it, all their ads are one sentence with an emoji. All their videos are square videos that are 30 seconds, and they have 5 scenes with text overlays and a bar on the top. Like, those are the things you should be looking for. All my competitors that ads are killing it, they're actually not using call to actions, using page posts with links in the copy. Those are the things that you can look for and you can incorporate into your ads, not just taking the exact ad and changing out your product. So what Russell does really well here with like this ad, this is a great attention grabbing first line. Do you hate money? Right? Super, like, nobody hates money. It grabs my attention. It's like, no, of course I don't hate money. It's got my attention. And there's a push away, which is great. So push aways are super strong, being polarizing, very, very effective with anything. Frank Kern talks a lot about the power of being polarizing, because if you try to appeal to everybody, meaning that you're like, hey, I'm going to stay kind of middle of the road. I'm not going to push any buttons. I want to be liked by everybody. You might not be liked by everybody. Maybe everyone will be just like acceptable. You'll be acceptable to everybody, but nobody's going to be passionate about you. You're not going to have a core group that actually loves you or loves your brand. So basically it's like, if you have people that are trolling you and hating on you, that's not a terrible thing, because there are going to be people on the opposite end that you now, because you're super polarizing, you're much more relatable to them and they like you because you're pushing buttons, right? That's why like Fox News and CNN and these brands, like they speak to their audience. And even the president, right? The president is always polarizing because they have views. They push their views. They talk about their views publicly. They don't hold back. And those views aren't shared by a lot of people. So a lot of people hate them. But there's people that do share those views, and they love the fact that the president or the news publication is publicly promoting them, right? So that is the power of polarization and being magnetic, because nobody built a huge company or huge brand by being liked by everybody or being indifferent by everybody, right? Look at Apple, right? Apple has a massive chunk of people that hate the brand. Right? Basically, anybody in the Android camp hates Apple. They think it's overpriced. They think it doesn't have as good a software as Android, like whatever it might be. Like, there's a massive population around the world that hates Apple. Yet Apple's $1 trillion company, and people wait in line for 7 days outside to spend $1,000 on a phone. Look at Coke versus Pepsi, right? There are people that will not drink soda at a restaurant because they have Pepsi and not Coke. You can go down the list as, Amazon. There are people that hate Amazon. There are people that think Amazon is destroying the world. It's a big monopoly. Like, there are people that despise it, yet Amazon is the next $1 trillion company. So being polarized and having people that hate you is not a bad thing. So for Russell here, and ClickFunnels is the same way. ClickFunnels, there's a lot of people out there that think ClickFunnels isn't good, doesn't have good features. It's all marketing, it's all branding. Like, there's a big crowd that thinks that, yet ClickFunnels is just printing money right now because they know who their fans are and they speak to them, and they don't try to cater to everybody. They cater to the people that love their platform. So being polarizing and doing a push away like this is a great thing in ads, right? Hey, do you hate money? If you do, this book's not for you, right? If you don't want to make money, if you don't want to work hard, if you don't want to do better in life and buy fancy things, then just keep scrolling. People hate being told not to do something. It draws them closer, actually, sometimes. And so playing on people's ego is also a great way to get people to pay attention, especially for certain demographics, certain audiences, like realtors and people like that have big egos. they don't like to be told they can't have something or can't do something. Higher income individuals, if you're selling, premium products, expensive products, pushing that ego button is really, really powerful and really effective. But yeah, this is short and sweet. Big red arrow to the book. It's got the 2 Comma Club hallway there. Learn more. Make sure you get a copy of this book while it's still free. Just cover shipping and handling. I like that because it's talking, hey, it's scarcity, it's free, but it's also truthful about covering shipping and handling, which I think is important. We started noticing this actually for free plus shipping offers. If you start including that you're going to pay for shipping, we actually noticed performance increased. We had our click-through rate went down, but our conversion rate increased by a greater percentage. What happens with a lot of free plus shipping is people don't say they're going to pay for shipping. They just say it's free. They go to the landing page and they're like, why do I have to pay something? You said it's free. Then you get a lot of negative comments. You get a lot, your relevance score takes a hit. Your negative feedback score takes a hit. And that makes your ad, your CPA costs more, your CPMs cost more, everything costs more because of that negative feedback. So if you're just upfront, you're going to get a lot less negative feedback. And so you might take a hit on the click-through rate, but overall, as you scale that campaign, you're going to make a lot more money. The image is fine. I think there's actually some ads on here where they tested, I think an image like this is way more attention grabbing, like lighting the book on fire. Although I think video would be a lot more effective. I'm not sure if they've tested video and just hasn't worked as well because a lot of their ads for their books are images, which is fine. We still see success with a lot of our image campaigns, but this is the video ad. Let's see this.
This book is going to show you how to sell your advice. It's going to help you build a mass movement. It's going to help you get your online business started in the shortest period of time possible. You need to understand that the impact that your message can have on someone at the right time in their life is immeasurable. I want you to remember that
Yeah, so this is a much more solid one because I have the great image. There's a custom thumbnail where it showed you're here, your book here, which is great because it makes you feel like you're already included. It's using future pacing. So it's a concept of the way you word things is talking as if the person has already made that decision. It, psychologically and from an NLP standpoint, it has a really good effectiveness at getting more people to convert by basically talking in those terms. We've actually started switching a lot of our videos to be less of these big top and bottom bars, which I think can be there's a few things that come with that. One is here, I'll go full screen real quick. So having those big top and big bottom bars have been a big trend the last year. They became really popular about 9 months ago, and everybody started doing them because initially the organic pages and organic content was using it. The risk of those types of videos is you run into a lot of issues with the Facebook text ratio, where you can have an impact on your deliverability because you have too much text, which is kind of a frustrating nightmare. It can also be distracting. So it's important to grab people's attention by being loud, but at the same time, you don't want to be too loud that you distract the individual from the actual message, right? So you can almost be over, I'm trying to think of the best word there. You can almost be too loud, right? You can be overbearing in how much you're including. It's like going to Vegas, right? There's so many signs and lights. It's sometimes you don't even know where to start because there's too much stuff trying to grab my attention. And people do not like options. That is a scientifically proven fact that if you give any human being too many choices, they get overwhelmed and they usually abandon the decision process. So we actually now a lot of our videos are kind of full square videos where it's the full image, and then we have text kind of blocks that pop out and animate onto the screen. And we're seeing a lot of the big public, kind of the big media pages, their content is more of that format. And it gets the job done because it's still animating, it still has text. It matches the organic content people see in their feed, but it does it without being too loud, too distracting, so you can actually get the message across. All right. Probably go through one or two more. And then as I said earlier, anybody that wants me to look at their ads, feel free to drop their link in the comments, and I'll either do them on the live that I'm doing, or I'll use them as the one that I'll add on the next live. And then also feel free to drop comments of what you think a good title for this kind of series should be and how often you'd like to see it. Because I could probably start doing these daily. Maybe they're going to be like 15 to 20 minutes instead of like an hour. So we'll see. Okay, let's see one more ad. This is also interesting over here. So right column ads still do well, despite what people say, and it went away. That was actually a good ad from ZipRecruiter, which is hiring. Right column ads, especially for retargeting, can be very, very profitable if done the right way. I think a lot of people, like probably a year ago or some more, kind of wrote off right column. I know earlier in my career I did, probably well over a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I basically was like, right column ads don't work, never profitable. And then I started noticing on auto placement for retargeting, that's some of my most profitable placements were right column, because the CPMs are so low there. And you're getting, if it's a really targeted audience, the lower the CPM is, that's actually a really, really effective metric to look at for hot audiences. That's why reach campaigns do very well for down funnel retargeting, because you're able to get the ad in front of people for the lowest possible cost. And you don't really need Facebook algorithm to find the right person at that point, because the audience is really hot. It's a retargeting audience. That's something to consider. And because it usually stays fixed here too on the right column, which is great. So you have people's eyeballs on the right side, especially if it's a really attention-grabbing image, for a decent amount of time. And it's a great way to just continue to hit people, right? Especially if you can cycle through a lot of different creatives or a lot of different images. You can kind of stay top of mind with people, which is great if you're a higher price point product. So if you're selling higher ticket items, running retargeting campaigns kind of exclusively in right column to just keep hitting people and stay top of mind while you're doing more, content-oriented retargeting, objection blocking in the feed is a great strategy. Okay. Let's see what we got. A lot less ads. I mean, what's interesting is just, Facebook has definitely cut back on, and this happened probably, 6 or so months ago. They definitely made a big cutback on the number of ads to just increase user experience. Of course, when I want to get an ad, I can't find any ads. So come on. Got to be an ad somewhere. All right, here's an Amex ad. We can end with this one. So American Express earned 100,000 bonus points with Star Preferred Guest business card. Terms and limitations apply. Earn 100,000 bonus points. It's got the card here. Limited time offer. Learn more. This is I talked about before about like including things like logos and stuff that aren't really effective. So for a brand like Amex, that's a different story. Like having the Amex logo is very powerful. So there are certain brands where including the logo has a positive impact. But for most of us, our logo doesn't really hold any weight. We don't have brands really yet. And so including a logo just takes up space and is distracting. But for Amex, that works in their favor. For me, it's just like, this is a pretty boring ad, to be honest. Earn 100,000 bonus points with Star Preferred Guest business card. Like, again, it doesn't talk about the outcome. If I was running this ad, I would be focused on, hey, what can you do with bonus points, right? All the things you can do. This is targeting, this obviously as we have our platinum cards and stuff. So we're Amex customers, and they're trying to push their, one of their hotel specific cards, be able to speak to some of the like unique benefits that business travelers care about, especially higher end business travelers. Things like, hey, does this card give me, upgrades to suites? Does it give me VIP check-in? What other benefits does it give me? Because a lot of people, we go with Amex because of the experience. When you're an Amex Platinum customer, or even an Amex Gold customer, you get a really, really great experience. You have a concierge. You have somebody that's going to help you book travel, help you when you have problems. You're going to get upgrades. That's why people spend the money on Amex and are willing to use Amex, because of those benefits. So if I'm Amex, that's what I'm focusing on, because again, bonus points are nice. And, sure, we'll sign up for cards because you get a big bonus, but everyone's competing on bonus points right now. Like, I can go on to Credit Karma or NerdWallet right now and find a ton of cards from Chase and Citi and all the other brands that are offering 50,000 plus bonus points to sign up for their card. So that's not a huge selling point. I want to know about the experience, the outcomes. What can I do with these bonus points that I can't do other places? So that would be something I would probably include in this copy or somewhere on here. Limited time offer. I think that's not a super great use of the headline space. I know, the challenge with credit card companies is they have a lot of regulation around them. So they need to include certain things that I'd imagine that they probably need to include terms and limitations apply in their ad, because it's here, and it's here. I don't know if they need to include it in 3 places. Ideally, I would just include it probably here or on the images. That's good enough, because it doesn't really it doesn't help me sell. It's boring. It takes a lot of space. It's distracting and doesn't add value. And you're using it in 3 of the 4 kind of key pieces of real estate for your ad. I think the other thing that I would do here probably is having a lifestyle video of a kind of younger, upper income business professional on a beautiful, walking to a beautiful beach Starwood resort with their, opening their wallet, and they got their platinum card and their star preferred guest card, and they pull it out and give it to the person, and they get, hey, Mr. Finn, so nice to have you here. We just upgraded you. Really showing the experience in a video would be huge. That video would really do well, in my opinion. That lifestyle, that aspirational video that shows you this is the experience that you're going to get when you walk into a Starwood property with a star preferred guest Amex for business. Showing the whole line of people waiting to get checked in, you get a private experience, whatever it might be. That would really help sell the card, in my opinion, than the current ad does. So I think, again, those are a few changes that I probably would do if I was running this ad. Obviously, Amex is one of the most iconic brands in the world, and I'm sure they're testing a lot of things. But for this specific card, I think they're definitely missing the mark and wasting some opportunity here, using just an image for a credit card, which is, these types of cards are experience-based. That's where Amex really made their mark, by providing top-of-the-line experiences. That's really where they built that iconic brand. Okay, so I see 2 questions from Doug here. So I'll answer those questions, and any more questions that we got, and I'll wrap it up for the kind of first go at our of this little series here. Okay. Doug said, how important is the difference in video format? So 16:9 versus 1:1. That's a great question. So the way I look at this is, your ad, you want to maximize real estate. We talk about real estate a lot this live. So if I'm using a 16:9, I'm essentially spending money for real estate I'm not using, right? It would be like buying a house. Okay. So you can buy a house on this plot of land, and the builder of the house says, hey, we can actually, for the price you're paying for this house, we actually have the ability to put 2 extra bedrooms and a backyard with a pool on the house. Same price, same everything. Do you want us to do that? And you saying, no, I'm okay with just this part of the house. I don't need the other part that I paid for. So with Facebook ads, it's the same way, or any type of ad platform. Facebook is giving you the ability to take up more real estate on somebody's screen. You should be using that, right? So we're always, in any circumstance we can, going with a square video, because again, it just takes up more real estate. We get a greater chance that we're going to get eyeballs. People are going to pay attention to us because it takes up more as they're scrolling, especially on mobile. So yeah, I think it's very important. And he said, what kind of blows my mind is your choice of unicorn. When you did it, it was another nice avatar, but in the last 4 months or so, unicorns have lumped everywhere. She's foresight. I think we just got lucky. So I would like to say that we had insight into that, but they have, it does. What's interesting though, there's a phenomenon. I don't know. I forget the term for this, but it's like what's happening right now with Facebook, like not just right now, but the last 6 months or so, with people kind of saying Facebook is listening to them because they're talking about things and seeing an ad. What's happening is when you are aware of things, when you're talking about something, you're more likely to notice it in other places because it's top of mind. But there are, I guarantee you, just as many ads in your feed that are, you're seeing a lot more ads that you aren't talking about than you are talking about, but you just aren't aware of those. So you see the 1 or 2 ads out of the hundreds that you see on a weekly basis. And you're like, hey, I talked about that brand last night. They're listening to me. No, you just only notice that ad. You're pulling that ad out of hundreds of others that had nothing to do with what you talked about. And then the same thing's true with, the unicorns, right? So if you start becoming, a fan and following a brand that everything's unicorn related, you're more aware of unicorns, and now you look out for unicorns and you see them more. Whereas before you probably saw them all over the place, but you didn't think about them. So, I'll take the credit there. We started the unicorn trend, but I think it's more likely that everyone's in our kind of community is more aware of unicorns. Once I think I was on mute. Sorry. Could you guys hear me when I said that? I think my mute button got pressed on the mic, but anyway, so I think what's actually that's like a very big topic, like the 50 purchase events, right? So I think the hey, it's weird. I realized this didn't get that's strange. Yeah, is it up now? So I just realized this didn't get shared to my that's weird. One sec. For some reason that just didn't share to my personal page. That's strange. I was wondering why the views were a little lower, and it was probably because I didn't share it on my timeline. Well, next time I'll remember that. So yeah, the 50 conversion events is it is important, and that's why it's honestly like when you're people that test at $10 a day per ad set are going to really struggle to ever make progress with their ad accounts because you're just not feeding Facebook enough data. In my opinion, and this is opinion shared by a lot of people that do very well with Facebook ads, it's better to start with higher budgets and, give it 2 to 3 days and, maybe take a bigger loss up front, but you're going to find more winners because you're giving Facebook so much more data, especially as you get further down your kind of testing process. So if you've been running ads for your offer in your business for, weeks or months, by then you have a pretty good feel for, hey, these audiences do the best, this offer does the best, and you can take those kind of swings and those risks a little more frequently because that is such especially with what has happened with getting rid of interests and behavior, like a lot of behaviors and demographics and targeting. Facebook has made their kind of broader targeting and I've noticed improvement overall in their algorithm of really being more effective at serving the ad to the right person at the right time in mass audiences, as long as you're giving it enough data, right? So if you're doing broad targeting men 35 and up, and you're only giving Facebook 3 purchases a day, you're probably gonna, not see great results. Whereas if you test a few of those audiences, broad audiences, and you start at $150, $200 a day, depending on your price point, and you feed Facebook, 10, 15, 20, 30 purchases a day, you might pay a higher cost per purchase in the first day or two, but you're going to start noticing Facebook doing its thing and getting enough purchases to really figure out who I should be serving the ad to, what auction I should be entering, when I should be entering those auctions, how I should be pacing out the ads throughout the day, and really getting a better cost per purchase, cost per lead, whatever your objective is. I'm not a fan of, and this is the strategy people do, of going up funnel for those 50 events. I would rather you just start at a higher budget with purchases, because optimizing, and this could just be me. I've tested this on dozens of ad accounts over years. I have never seen great success targeting higher funnel objectives like view content or add to cart when my goal was purchases, compared to just running purchase optimization campaigns. And the reason for that is pretty obvious, which is when I'm running a website conversion campaign, I'm not optimizing that for a add to cart objective conversion event. I'm telling Facebook, I'm saying, hey, Facebook algorithm, go out there and find people that are most likely to add my product to their cart at the lowest possible cost. That's what I'm telling Facebook to go do. I'm not telling Facebook to go find the people most likely to buy. I'm telling most likely to add to the cart. And so Facebook's going to go and they're going to look at all the people in the auctions, they're in your target audience, their past activity on Facebook, have they added things to the cart, what ads they engage with, all of those variables, their estimated action rate, their user value, their customer value, all those number, total user value, relevance score, estimated action rate, in determining who to show the ad to and whether they're going to win or lose at auction. And I would rather pay more, but have Facebook send me people that are most likely to buy, than save a little money on my events and get some more events and have Facebook send me people who are most likely to view a page, because those people aren't always the same people. And so if you're sending a lot of people with a view content event to your site, you're not a sure thing that they're going to be the same people that are going to go buy, right? And so my thing is always, hey, tell Facebook to find people that are going to do the thing you want to do, and let Facebook do its thing. Does that make sense? Brian? So again, add to cart, initiate checkout, a little different because, most people are going to add to the cart, initiate checkout are probably going to be similar to people who are going to buy. But for like view content and things like that, it's not a great strategy, in my opinion. I think we need to be able to trust the algorithm. Facebook's algorithm is really, really powerful. The machine learning in the algorithm is so powerful and effective, and it's analyzing so many data points simultaneously. And so if you can feed Facebook a lot of quality data, you are going to usually see good results. If you can't spend enough and you're turning things off too soon and you're too risk averse, it's going to be hard to really be effective on Facebook. And so that's one of the biggest tips I tell people is like, if you're getting to Facebook now, especially today, where Facebook is today, kind of competition-wise, cost-wise, and you're like, hey, I'm going to spend $20 today, and if I don't get a sale at 15, I'm going to turn everything off, and then I'm going to try in 2 more days. You're never going to be successful on Facebook. You need to go into it knowing, hey, I might take a hit for a few days testing a bunch of stuff, but I'm going to test, and I'm going to say, I'm going to spend this, I'm going to invest this, and I know I'm going to take a hit potentially for a few days, maybe even a week or two, but by giving Facebook enough data over enough period of time, I'm going to let it find things that are really going to work. Awesome. And so, yeah, I'll answer a few more questions. But I'm probably going to do, like, going forward is like, I'll keep these lives, like specifically audits of ads and questions directly related to them. And then I'll do separate Q&As. I can start doing that as well and getting more active on lives, but I'll definitely answer these questions right now. Okay. Ryan said, does this apply for digital courses as well? Yeah, so it doesn't matter what you're selling. A purchase is a purchase. A view content is a view content. An event is an event. So no matter what your price point is, Facebook wants 50 events of that sale, of that purchase. And also, I mean, here's the other thing, like I know that's a rule Facebook, that's the learning phase and stuff, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that if you don't give Facebook 50 purchases a week, you can't be profitable, right? So, and again, this is just my opinion. It's based on stuff I've done, experience I've had. A lot of my campaigns where I've run, especially for like higher price point courses, where I've run purchases, format website conversions from day one and haven't delivered 50 events, have almost always been more profitable than trying to do view content and get 50 events. Again, that's just, based on lots of campaigns and accounts we run. It's not conclusive, but that's been my experience with it. And so what's the downfall of, say, 13 purchases a week instead of the 50 and a purchase conversion? So, I mean, the downfall, and I won't say so much a downfall, is you're going to have less stability and more volatility because Facebook has less data to work with. So you might have more volatility day to day in terms of performance of an ad set than you would say if you're delivering, 50 events per week or ideally, 50 events per day on an ad set. But I think, what your goal should be is in the beginning, you are doing extensive testing. You're testing everything. You're testing all layers of lookalikes. You're testing a wide range of interests. You're testing broad mass market targeting. You're testing various intersects on lookalikes. You're testing segments within the lookalikes. You're testing a variety of copy, of creative. And then you're able to find out of those initial tests, and we can talk more about campaign structure going forward, things that consistently work time and time again, that you're then able to refine, test 1 day click for 7 day click, Android versus iPhone, mobile versus desktop, and really hone in on, hey, the 2% all-time buyer lookalike with this interest, it's a 4 million person audience, has done well almost every test we've run. Now I'm going to start a new campaign, kind of my scaling campaign, at much higher budgets. I'm going to work in manual bids to control my costs. And I'm going to make sure I set those budgets in a way that I'm going to get those 50 events per week. So I think where it really comes into play is when you're looking to scale things. That's where data is really important. When you're testing, you're really looking for pattern interrupts. You're looking for, hey, what's the mean and what's really jumping above that? What are things that are really working? And now let me continue to push those a little further, and now move those to scaling campaigns while I'm continuing to test and find new things that are working. Does that make sense, Brian? I think that's kind of what we do. We have a lot of testing campaigns running where it's kind of like a prospecting campaign where we're constantly looking at various lookalikes, various lookalike intersects of interest, various, Android, iPhone, Instagram stories, 1 day click, 7 day click, and really finding those outliers. And then we're moving those outliers to our scaling campaigns that are starting at much higher daily budgets where we're testing our manual bids there to give us more price control as we scale, because we're able to start those at much higher budgets. We don't lose our shirts, obviously. And that's where things like, Tim's bully method and his surfing and shotgun method really come into play, which I'd recommend if I talk about scaling, but if anybody's really interested in like learning some of the best scaling strategies, I'd recommend, joining Tim's Ad Leaks group. It's awesome. He has a lot of his scaling strategies in there. Cool. Well, I'm going to call it a day for our first Unicorn Ads episode 1. I think it was a decent success. for the first one. I didn't share my personal profile until the very end, so lost some viewership there. But anybody that's watching the replay, basically what I want to start doing is just I'm going to talk through ads that I think are great, ads that I think need work, ads that are in my feed, and we're just going to break them down, analyze them, dissect them, things that are just great about them, things that need work, all that good stuff. And then I think I'll also have I'll pick one person every episode to look at their ad and do real-time feedback on that. Let me know in the comments what you think a good title would be, how often I should do them. Do you want me to do them every day? You want me to do them weekly? And if you want me to look at your ad on the next episode, let me know. Drop the link in the comments below. And as always, anything I can do or the Unicorn team can do, feel free to let us know. Shoot me a message, drop a comment, and we'll get back to you. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.